Last we met, you all were beyond the walls of Luyarnha, heading into an exiled village known as Jaegerwald. This village, you learned, was in exile as a result of an intense amount of contamination of the Scourge. The Radiant Order brought their efforts to the city and trying to contain as best as they could the disease, the curse that had afflicted this group of poor individuals. But you needed to go there in order to acquire homeopathic remedies that Carmela had recommended you seek out on behalf of Rackjacks, but also your compatriot Draco. With enough time spending running in circles in the forest just outside the walls, you eventually did acquire enough golden fennel before arriving in Jaegerweiler, where you did grab some Nightshade Whisper, in addition to its paired poisonous plant known as Helidonus. But your entrance into this village was not met with peace, but with violence. The locals and many of the inhabitants here
thumbs out for the locals.
Have nothing but anathema towards those who come from Luyarnha. And they saw you all as no different. And it didn't take long before a conflict broke out. You were able to dispatch a couple of them. But soon after these two were dealt with, an entity that has been stalking you ever since you left the walls, that you now know is known as the Veiled Hunter, or a Fallen Hunter, as Carmela described. Someone who has been a protector of Jaegerweiler, a protector of these exiled souls, gave you a warning.
Leave with your lives and do not return.
And that command, or that call, not only permeated your minds, but it seemed to affect the minds of the Jaegerweiler locals. They all stopped fighting the moment that you heard this call from this entity, giving you a moment to pass out of their village with your lives. And so you did. You met back at the walls, at the hole that the Cursed Bloods had once sealed off for the protection of Luyarnha. Showed them good faith, that you came back with mostly no contamination. They allowed you back in, and you delivered some of the recently acquired herbs and plants from Jaegerweiler to Carmela. But before that, there was an exchange that Issa made with some of the anarchists that you all had witnessed in the Ruby District. A group known that Dakaran had noted to you as a group called the Forsaken. She ran up to their caravan as they were carting what looked like several kegs of, it could be ale, it could be gasoline, you really have no idea what is inside, but offered a trade of some of these bushels of fennel, or at least bushels to a halfling such as yourself. In exchange, she received 10 gold pieces and might have made an ally, briefly, with this half-orc leader of the Forsaken. Carmela was reasonably shocked that you all made it out of Jägerweiler in one piece after encountering this fallen hunter, this individual who at one point she knew, it seems, personally. And well, you did your job, and in exchange she gave you 30 gold pieces, a curious diamond in a glass case, as well as 3 healing potions. And you,
jump on.
tired as you are, made an immediate beeline towards Chateau Elysium. Who would be the last to go to sleep amongst your party?
Who would be the last to what I'm sorry?
To go to sleep.
How do we determine that?
Watch system, like what do you choose?
Is there any reason that you think you would be staying up longer than the rest? Would you hit the hay
I would spend
immediately?
many a late nights on the sea. Get my accent back.
That's all we needed.
It's back, baby.
Looking at the stars. I've kept watch many nights on the sea. It's possible I might fall asleep at a later hour.
Orin, as you're staring off into the night sky, happy to see no lunar events taking place within these past 2 days, you feel and hear a rumble of thunder. And then you look out and you see there's no clouds. You look over your shoulder and none of your other compatriots are disturbed by this sound of thunder. It sounds so distant, so far away. But then it continues. It continues. And you're starting to realize that this rumble of thunder and crackle of distant lightning isn't necessarily something that is happening to the world, but something you are experiencing within you. A connection to the Stormlord has been made. And as you grip your fists in a white knuckle fury, as though if you wanted to, you feel you could punch a lightning-charged hole through the wall of your bedroom out into the rest of the Elysium grounds. You open your fist and you see little crackles of lights and static electricity. Something has awoken you.
Whoa, shit.
Arr.
One of the 9 pieces of 8.
It's not pieces of 8. It's just pieces of junk.
Dakaran, how, before you go to sleep, how would you say your relationships with the shadows have evolved now that you have been transported from your home into this city of Luyarnha?
Yeah, especially when I was going off by myself and traveling through that tunnel, I would have developed larger skills in blending in and making myself unseen, and also I think observing the people who took the potion. I can't remember what it was, who it was, as they of etherealness.
Yes.
As
Okay.
They kind of melted away.
Yes.
Yep. Kind of internalized some of that and increased my affinity for the shadows.
And as you set yourself up in your bed, you can kind of feel, as the darkness settles around you, this ability to almost like flatten yourself in your own bed, melding with the darkness. Gotsrog, a performer in a past life, but taking on more and more auras, essences of the natural around you. How would you describe your affinity to animal kind, to the moon?
Yeah, I think to build out Gotrog's, lore a bit, as someone who I think, was the sort of like circus ringleader, but was also somewhat of like the sort of business face of this traveling troupe. I think maybe he would keep his eyes to the skies at dusk and in the morning, looking, keenly aware of like good days for travel, knowing that certain, if it's, if the weather, favors good travel, and if there are brighter days, knows that he can bring the troupe into town and know that would be good for business if folks are out and about in the city square, that sort of thing. So I think that'd be something that he'd be keenly aware of. So he might be in touch with the weather, maybe into star movements, weather patterns, that sort of thing.
And I'll say, as you too find yourself dwelling on these things and feeling a confidence about your abilities, you begin to drift to sleep, staring out the same window. You see Orin squatting and looking, and you see for a moment, like, you just see him looking around, almost confused. And you fall asleep just seeing him gripping his fist. For most, the long rest is something that happens seamlessly and with very little interruption, but Changus, for some reason, something is stirring within you. And you...
That's funny.
Dude, you got burritos without us? What the fuck?
Seriously?
You feel hungry, thirsty, you feel unsettled, and you have to get up. You have to get up. There is a desire, a hunger, a yearning that more or less jolts you out of bed, and you run down the catwalk, and you see embers in the level below you of that massive fireplace, Lord Grendelock's fireplace. That is, I mean, it's probably 2 or 3 in the morning, if anything. That now there's barely any extra warmth coming from there. You go running, searching for any source of something that can fill a void, and you hear a laughter. You hear a laughter and you follow it. Not only because you're curious, but it sounds like you. It sounds like your voice. You follow this down a corridor, and in this daze, your vision looks fish-eyed, by the way. Like, you're in almost like a lucid dreaming state, it seems. And as you look and you hear this laughing, and then you hear like, that's what I needed. And you see an exact replica of yourself sitting in the kitchen, and you see his back is turned towards you, and he's making something, and he turns and he hands you on one plate. He's holding a sandwich, and the other one he extends it to you. Figured you might be hungry, man.
Thanks. Are you before or after me in time?
Oh, dude, time is nothing to us. You understand?
Yeah.
You and I were the same. In fact, I'm feeling I might want to turn in. I've seen enough around here, and I think we have too.
Want to go back to my place?
I am curious, though, what that Felix guy's about. He's got this weird energy, man.
Totally, dude.
We'll worry about it in the morning. I'm gonna enjoy the sandwich. You enjoy your night, man. And as you then take this plate and stumble backwards, you see this vision of him and your duplicity vanish. As you're now realizing the extent that your divinity has granted you. The morning breaks, and Issa, you feel a very cold, like icy cold sensation around your neck. And you're wondering, like, I've been bundled all night. Why am I cold? And you reach and you feel that crystal. And the crystal's icy cold. Make an Arcana check for me.
Okay. It's 14.
14. Now, you're not a learned individual in terms of the depths of magic and what it's capable of. But as in your experience, there are seemingly hard laws about magic. Hard laws in terms of why things are manifested and when. And so far, this crystal, you've noticed that it has been, anytime you have channeled your energy through it, you'd feel a reverberating warmth. And you don't feel that now. Cast a cantrip.
Okay. Do I need to roll to hit something, or just?
Well, unless you're making an attack roll.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna do Sorcerer's Burst.
Okay. You begin to use your Sorcerer's Burst energy. Roll a d20 for me.
Sorcerer's busted. Let's see. How busted
That's
is it?
23 total.
It's 20.
23 total. Okay.
Busted like a
If I'm adding spell attack,
degree.
I don't know. It was 17 before I added that.
No, that's fine.
Is that like good?
I think go either way.
Roll a d100 for me.
I think that.
Ooh, let's go.
That's a busted roll.
Yo, what's
That's a busted roll.
I never knew. Oh, now let's bust it.
Sorcerer's bust.
Let's go. Sorcerer's Bust.
Oh, that's also busted.
That was a good roll.
There you go.
What does it say?
What is that?
38? Looks like 38.
38, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, that's 38.
The warmth of the crystal returns, but you feel that warmth transcending up into your chest and into your throat, and you begin to speak some new language you've never spoken before.
Oh, word.
I know Mandarin now.
However,
Cena.
for the time being, aside from common, you cannot speak any other language but that one and common.
Okay.
Mandarin?
Yeah, it's Mandarin.
Roll a d6 for me.
That's a 6.
Okay. You begin to speak with simple but strong verbiage. Many vowels, but a lot of guttural tones that seems to denote the language of giant.
Who's got that? Someone got giant? Ah.
Mizt, would you say you're an early riser or a late riser? Or just an average riser in the morning?
Harmonizing?
He hums.
As early as it may be.
Perfect. So I'll even say before...
Usually with the sun
Okay.
shining on my face.
So before Issa even gets up, we'll say, you, in a dream that you were having, you dream yourself waking up and looking at your end table and seeing a pile of scrolls. And you find yourself pulling some, and they have no written language on them, but they have like pure visuals, images of explosions, of fire, of ice, of death. And when you wake up, there are no scrolls on your end table, but you feel an inspiration to write, an inspiration to add to your spell book. This would be the 4 new spells that you gained after leveling up. Eventually, you all wake up and you hear the metal footsteps of a familiar mannequin. C9 walks up the catwalk and into the doorway of your suite.
Well, I certainly am glad to see that you all have made it back in one piece. We were starting to believe that you may not return. Well, the Lord has some new guests, and they have requested your presence in their company. If you all would not mind getting yourselves well dressed and prepared to meet some very affluent, others influential. Do not dawdle, I ask. Do not dawdle.
And he turns and heads out the door. Is there anything in particular that you guys do to get ready or do before you head down?
So I hobble out the doors in order to seek someone to help me get changed, because I had some incidents learning some spells that have caused some webs in between all my fingers
Okay.
and my toes. So and a lot of my joints. So like I'm kind of like stiff. So I need someone to help me get changed. I don't even know.
Sure. As you pursue someone to dress you, clothe you,
Yes.
C9 sends a mannequin with a new set of robes, and you see this individual.
Okay, now hold your hand up here. No, not your third hand, this hand. Okay, now back down. Stick your foot out. Have you never...
Oh my lord!
And then you all just hear this like commotion in the hallway as they're trying to bring Mizt back to the bedroom and get changed. Anything else that you guys are doing prior to, or do you all mostly just get up in a pretty casual fashion and head down?
Issa wakes up and says, "Fee, fi, fo."
Orin and Gothrock, you're like, oh, that's our home language.
That's common.
Fo, fee, fi, fo.
They like automatically join in. Like
Fee fi, fee fi, fee fi.
Yeah, it was hi ho.
No, that's dwarven.
That's dwarvish.
Oh,
Yeah.
You are a.
what the hell is fee fi fo fo?
I smell
He's
one
got
thing
size
different.
dysmorphia.
Jack and the Beanstalk?
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry.
Give him
I'm
a break. He doesn't know
illiterate.
how big he is.
I'm illiterate.
He's an illiterate.
He's so big, he's stupid.
Not enough air to his brain.
It
How's
takes
the air up there?
It takes a long time. Everything takes a long
How's
time.
the view up there?
We got time.
Yeah, whatever. I get dressed and I think I'm eager for a morning tea.
Well, with no further ado, you all gather your things, your equipment, everything that you will need for this day, whatever it may bring. And you begin to head downstairs and around this long dining hall. You see C9 with his black poncho over him. And a pair of other mannequins that are delivering what looks like tea and kettles and coffee and cakes. And
Beer, please.
But of course, we would love to provide anything that you might need, especially for these gentlemen here.
as he ushers to those around the table, these new folk, you see, other than Lord Grendelock, who is standing hunched over the head of the table with his cane, you see three folk. One, two are standing next to each other. One looks to be like some sort of priest, some sort of religious figure. A half-orc in vestments, but the sleeves have been torn off, and you see him like his full musculature in his arms and holding a religious holy symbol at the end of a staff. And in his other hand, you see what probably is like his hat, his almost like a bishop's hat, if you were to think of it like that. And next to him looks to be a knight, someone who's wearing what looks to be full plate armor, and their leather has been the bits of leather have either been stained to look gray or white. Like, this figure looks just like a metal statue outside of their face, really. On their helmet is perched up. It kind of looks like a long singular horn, like a rhino. And on their back is a massive tower shield. Draped on their side of their hip, you see like a two-headed flail with a black spikes on each head of the flail, and the collar comes up, obscuring their face below their nose. It looks like just a half-elven individual, looking and judging you all as you all enter this space. The third individual is, you assume to be some sort of subrace of dwarf, but much more aquatic features. They have teal blue skin. Their hair is pulled back into a purplish black braid of what looks to be wrapped in seaweed. You even see what looks to be some manner of gills on their neck, webbed hands, and a trident on their back. Lord Grendelock then sees you all
Oh, well, I'm so glad that you were able to have a well night's rest. These are some of my associates that I have grown very fond of and have been wonderful to work with throughout the city. They have managed to help us in moments of great need. And well, I'll leave it up to Noldrell,
And he points over to the half-orc priest individual.
To give a little bit more explanation as to what he has witnessed and some of the things that they have uncovered regarding shattering moons. I do believe this is somewhat within your party's wheelhouse, yes, as you were able to stave off any geists from the orphanage.
Guys, huh?
Nordrell?
And the priest nods.
Master Grendelock, yes, it is true what the Lord has said. We have, with Knight Caveris's help, he and the Great Templar have seen a number of anomalies, things that have brought our attention to what could cause, or at least what might bring about these Eldritch Moon events, or at least a Shattering Moon event. I can't exactly explain the precursor events, but we have noticed that at any given time in the night when a congregation of spirits of undead have amassed number over number over number, it is within 3 nights that a Shattering Moon event occurs.
And the knight, Kiveris, speaks up. It's more than that. It seems to be attracted by a great tumult of energy and arcanum that happens to coincide with the spawnings of undead. We have also noticed that Lunar Revenants, if this is something that you might be privy to, they seem to be the ringleaders of each lunar event, whether that be shattering moons or otherwise. Our strong hunch is if these lunar events can be triggered and contained, we might have a strategy on our hands to take out one of these revenants. And if we're able to, it could remove entirely any further lunar event that is tied to that particular revenant. Now, as it stands, we're on the precipice of a 3rd night of undead. The Sanctified District has already reported more than a dozen 2 nights ago, then shrouded, and so it stands to reason that we might be able to, with the help of the Waterfront District, and he points over to this aquatic dwarf, that we might be able to have some solid hope on our hands in dealing with this once and for all. Now, there are 11 other lunar moons that we have to research and understand, but as of right now, this is the best shot that we have. Durdrake, do you have anything else to add on your behalf? And you see the dwarf sit up, and he brushes his greenish beard, and you see like some water drip out of it.
Well, the way that I see it, if it weren't for the Waterfront District, you wouldn't have any sort of submersives to deal with your riverfront that you want to have against this revenant. Isn't that true?
Yes, that is true. And we're hoping that on behalf of the people of Luyarnha, that we might be able to strike some sort of deal. The waterfront, Paterna, and Sanctified District, as he looks over to the priest. What we need is for your submersible to traverse the river all the way through to hopefully, some sort of least populated area of the New Bridge District. Now, if I understand this correctly, from what we have witnessed, you all have already encountered such a revenant. Is that true?
That you in speaking giant?
Not expecting a deep bellowing voice coming from a very small, stout woman. Oh, sure, okay. Where was it that you all fought this thing?
Was that the beast in the tunnels?
No.
This was
I
just
think that
outside
was-
of Caspar's.
Yeah, I think it was by
The
thing that killed us all?
in the New Bridge.
No.
No.
It was the
This was
plaza.
Plaza de Noir.
Whoa.
I don't remember where that was.
Is that in the New Bridge district?
It is. Yeah, it's. So if
Like right in the corner there.
yeah, so it's like just above the word Newbridge there, and so you say Plaza de Noir. Order priest Nordrel, if you were to make an early curfew
My dear friend.
for the folks of Newbridge to clear out the plaza, and Captain Durdrake, would we be able to utilize your submersible in order to attract this revenant?
Hey, that might be on the table. However, it is going to take at least 2, if not 3, on my submersible. My men are already watching the ends of the waterfront district in order to stave off any sort of other undead geists. So I'm going to need 2 more willing volunteers aboard my ship if we're going to make this destruction prove itself possible for our strategy. But beyond that, I'm not quite sure I understand what it is you have planned, Sir Knight. Templar.
Your submersible is going to need to attract and attack the revenant. Our job will be to contain and suppress the revenant. Now, if 2 of you are going to be aboard the submersible, and 2 of you are going to come with me and my Templar, that leaves, I believe, 3 left. We're going to need more manpower.
How tall do you have to be?
As far as I'm concerned, it's more of your wit and will to be able to manage aside from your height.
It's like the opposite of like when you're like going to Cedar Point to like
How tall do you have to
It's
ride?
like the opposite. You have to like be under a threshold to ride. Must be less than 54 inches.
I'm 5 feet, but I look smaller to everyone else.
Oh, 5 feet. You'll fit
But
right
I
in.
look smaller. I look smaller. So
I mean,
like,
is
I,
it
don't,
like-
I might not be the best
Is
candidate
it like
if
the
you're trying
Disney
to.
castle?
You
with
stand
the
next to
West
the
Mouth?
you stand next to the
Yes,
dude like
yes.
with the arrow, and you're like it's like an optical illusion where you like appear smaller.
Yeah, magic
The
mirror.
Disney castle, but in reverse.
I don't want to speak out of turn for the party here, but I think we're all willing. Are there certain skills that would benefit us to those who choose to be on the submersible. The
Like
dwarf,
perhaps being a ship's captain.
the captain Deirdre speaks up.
We have a module on our ship that can do one of two things. Can either send out an electromagnetic pulse, sending a thunderous wave of energy. And the thought there is with enough energy being input into this module that it can send and attract the Revenant to us. And once it is attracted, we can then strike with electric energy at the same time. But if I'm steering the ship, I will need at least one, if not two others to be able to perform such feats.
As far as my men are concerned, the two phases for us, once the Revenant is attracted, is to contain it with as much energy as we can muster and then suppress it. As far as the rest, well, Grendelock, you might know a little bit more about this.
You're gonna need to persuade your way through and make sure that you have some hefty folk on your side.
Oh, Grendelock.
There are a few locales that I believe you might be able to gain some aid. I've had great success through the mechanized emporium. You'll find many mannequins and even some hollow sentinels there to be able to assist you in this front. Otherwise, if you feel a little bit more confident in yourselves, I know that the retired Jaeger, Garrett Crowell is his name. Yes, he runs the Jaeger's workshop and can also potentially offer some hunters for hire. Little bit formidable, but not nearly as expendable as the mannequins tend to be. Hopefully, no offense to you, C9.
Oh, Master, no offense taken.
So, when it comes to containing and suppressing, like, what does that mean?
Yeah, thank you.
I mean, is that
sounds like
to me
range
to me,
attacks, or is that
yeah, to me the untrained person that sounds like magic, but
The half-orc order priest speaks up.
Ideally, we would require those who have already some sort of affinity with the clerical adjacent is what's going to provide more formidable attempts at these containing and suppressing phases. Now, the rest of you, requiring aid is only your first phase. By the time that the Revenant is contained and suppressed, your second phase must already be completed. That being, dealing with the congregation of undead in the plaza. This is going to require a great deal of stealth, accuracy, and tactical pursuit.
you got it.
It's all the right guys right here.
outside of the
tactical pursuit.
and sorry to
Like Trivial Pursuit, but
divert back
more
to
tactical.
our dwarven friend here, but it does benefit the weapon inside the submersible to have a magic user there wielding it, not just someone of a body such as one of the mannequins here wielding it.
Well, unless you have a hollow sentinel on your hands, there isn't exactly a way that they can conjure magic very well. Even the sentinels are mostly hand-to-hand. What I am going to require is someone who is able to conjure some amount of thunderous or lightning capabilities.
And would that require a spell of our own, or would we focus our own arcane energy into this device?
Well, if your arcane energy is capable of that, of such types, then you might have a shot on my ship. If you attempt to channel any other elements, I cannot guarantee the module will prove successful.
Okay.
Thus compromising the mission as a whole.
Alright, then slightly specifying question. Like, casting Thunderwave versus arcane check. What would you...
Effectively, what this would mean is, if you feel your character, and you can flavor it however you want, but if you wanted to channel a shocking grasp, or you wanted to channel a thunderwave, or you wanted to channel an ability that you have that allows you to utilize lightning or thunder,
Yep.
that would be a way for you to be effective on this module.
Okay.
Alright. Captain.
And
I am ready for...
And these hollow sentinels, is this what Derek can provide? Derek, you said Derek, right?
Durdrick.
Derek?
Are you referring to the dwarf?
Sorry, but didn't someone say that we could reach out to some hollow sentinels or someone who has hunters?
Derek.
Things.
Derek. So
those are hunters, not hollow sentinels.
Yes.
So this is just something. This is like a. He was going
Hallowed
left field
sentinels.
saying, unless you have one of these.
Wait, are they
Right, yeah.
So the Mechanized Emporium offers mannequins for hire.
Yes.
In some cases, hollow sentinels, which are just another tier of its own of mannequins.
Super mannequins.
The Jaeger Workshop is an alternative option where mercenaries, hunters for hire, perhaps in some cases, if you're lucky, a Jaeger.
Okay, and Mr. Plate, armored individual.
Sir Knight.
How many would you request to join your forces to suppress this revenant? How many would you hope to have?
I would hope to have 2 of your men who have some sort of gift with either the ethereal or clerical means. But then he looks over.
We have trickster clerics.
He looks over at you, Draco.
We got a healing monk.
Yeah, we've got a trickster cleric slash
Healing monk.
You should know your job. You should know your job.
You should! You should know your job.
Draco, hearing all of this, what is your general disposition, your general emotion and feeling about this mission to go up against, and strategy to go up against the Lunar Revenants?
So, it sounds like we have somewhat of an embarrassment of riches if 3 are required for this submersible, and 2 are required for suppression.
2 for the submersible.
2 for the submersible.
And
The submersible is
for
the EMP, as he was referring
2
to.
for the EMP, 2 for the holy suppression, and 3 for gathering aid and an ambush.
Just general attacking.
General attacking.
I've always had a bit of a fondness for submersibles.
I have quite a hand in electricity and pyrotechnics.
Pyrotechnics.
I mean, if that's what you choose to do, feel free. I mean, obviously, the seas may determine your role here.
Well, I feels like we should all be deciding as a group and maybe vote or something.
Or something. Or me.
Democracy at its finest.
So egalitarian for a pirate.
Well, you know,
You have to honor the code,
we're all in the same boat.
whether ye be landlubber or otherwise.
Sounds like a parlay.
Taking us home. Trapping it in.
Yeah, okay, so I volunteer to not do any of that stuff and just be
One of the three.
one of the
Okay.
one of the non-magic guys.
Yeah.
Because I'm
so
not magic.
mechanically, to make it as transparent as possible, 2 people. In order for every leg of this strategy to be successful, the submersible should have 2 people that can do that have some sort of lightning or thunderous capabilities. The 2 to join with the Great Templar Knight would have to be 2 individuals who have some sort of connection with.
Am I hearing
divine-
birds right now?
You are.
Birds. Okay, this is crazy.
I got baby chicks in the
There
storage.
Are you
room.
serious?
I do. I actually do.
Holy shit!
You guys are freaking me out too.
Yeah,
mentioned
I was
that.
like, is Kevin watching just like a live stream of baby birds? I'm watching the
It
bird
literally
cam right
sounds
now.
like shit cam, like a cartoon where it's like.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry to
Dude, some
peek.
chicks just
Sorry,
hatched.
Chad.
You gotta get a look at this.
Yeah.
Look at this chick.
They're hatching, baby.
The chick
Sorry
twitches.
to call
It's-
it.
it's-
Sorry to peek.
He's playing a
Jack.
gotcha game. We have to like hatch a bunch of eggs and like. Yeah.
They're
so,
over there. I'm gonna
Yeah.
go. I have
Yeah,
to
look.
I have to go.
In the meantime, I have to pee.
There's like, what, 12 of them? 15?
12.
We got a dozen.
A dozen.
Do we just want to decide this right now, just to make it easy?
Life's consciousness?
2.
No.
Submerge.
Well, I was gonna say I can
three
do
to
I can
submerge.
do quite a bit of like lightning and thunder if he's
Because they did say 2 to 3, right?
yeah.
I think you just said 2.
Just 2.
in the sub.
Well,
Luke, are you
one
good
to
not
two, I believe.
not doing that?
I'm not a strong person, but I have a lot of lightning and thunder.
Can you suppress some things?
Would you rather, like, because you're a barbarian, like, you might be good to just attack. But I totally get if you'd rather just, like,
Yeah, I
if,
could
you're, if
attack.
you bonded to the sea, I totally get that.
It sounded like it sounded like he was saying 2 magic users on the
Fuego.
submersible,
Oh, yeah.
right?
But I don't want to, like, peel you away from something that you might feel bound to.
No, well,
Did he just say 2? I thought he said 2 or 3.
I think it was 1
while
to
I
2.
do feel bound.
Is it 2 or 2 or 3
On
for the submersible?
2. 2 for the submersible.
Well, I do feel
like
bound
two
to the
magic
submersible.
users,
I can
or, like,
see where my
one
skills might be used elsewhere.
Particularly good
2
magic user
lightningers.
and then like a guy.
Because
2
Luke
zappers.
feels like he could be more useful, and Grayson feels like he'd be more useful. But it does make sense that Nick would be sort of bound to choosing that.
Either 3 of them
It,
could work.
Okay, so
2 of the 3 or 3?
Rock,
3?
2 of the.
scissors.
Yes, you guys just gotta decide.
I will
I
sacrifice.
mean, I would
paper.
I would rather not.
Parchment, rock, shears.
The 2 of you just want to go.
Cool. All right, and
Paper,
then
scissors.
Boulder,
3 of us,
Parchment shears.
Boulder,
Parchment
parchment shears.
and then 3 of us have to require additional assistance.
Gather aid and then set up for the ambush.
Like set? What do you mean set up?
So before the Revenant, so you guys are basically going to be going. Well, I say you guys. Whoever the 3 are will be going first during the because it's day right now to acquire aid.
Yep.
And then you'll be setting yourselves up
Why
for.
couldn't we all go to do that?
I mean, we
Yeah,
could
right.
RP it, but essentially, the ritual that's going to take to contain in the plaza, and the time it's going to take to train whatever 2 individuals on the submersible is going to take a while. So it'll effectively be splitting the party in 3 ways.
Cool.
And then what would you say is like what skills would most benefit the non-support? Like the non-support, non-submersible folks.
Non-support,
containers.
non-support.
What?
The containment crew.
The containment crew or
Yeah.
the 3?
The containment crew.
The containment crew.
That's pretty, that's pretty
Divine
good.
magic.
Number 4.
Okay.
Number
Okay,
4
paladin,
count as
cleric,
or,
boom.
like, pick that out.
Them to do that.
Unless
So
there's
you
another
would, so
divine.
you and me would then be to go
Yeah,
establish
With
find
Issa.
what with
You
Issa.
2 with
yeah.
Issa.
Yeah, that was the. I just
To go
opened it up for
grab
that.
people?
That was my first
Yeah.
Grab people.
And then attack.
Yeah, and the ambush, you're not ambushing the Revenant. The hope is that if your group is stealthy enough, you can pick off you and your those that you have recruited. Will pick off some of the geists that are existing in the plaza as like a surprise round beforehand.
That makes sense. Yeah, I like that lineup.
So as far as the order of operations go, the 3-person team will be acting first, but then kind of all at the same time will the submersible be attracting the Revenant, attacking, and the containment crew will be suppressing and containing right before the attack. Does this all make sense?
Oh wait, so then
Makes
we're
sense.
all gonna attack the Revenant after that?
Yes. So
Oh,
your
okay,
your
okay.
ambush is to clear out the minions, effectively. What and then you will eventually
So
all
once
be
it's
fighting.
contained, we can all kill the Revenant.
Yes.
Is this the big spooky skeleton that?
Like the big like Wendigo thing that we faced?
Not the Wendigo thing.
This is Halloween.
The Grey Knight, the Grey Templar, says, "So it seems, Captain Durdrag, you've got your 2. I see 1 that I'd like to recruit on our side. Who is joining us?"
So, it's the plate armored knight, who that would be Chengus and Draco.
Aspar.
Drakus.
This will.
Drangus. You shipped
This
them.
might actually turn well in our favor. The rest of you, are you off to the Emporium or the workshop?
You said the rest of us?
You 3.
Let's split the party one more time. Let's go 1 and 1.
There's 3 of us.
Oh yeah, 2 and 1. Just kidding. I'm kidding.
Must it be done?
You're not part of it.
This has nothing to do with
So Emporium, what's available at the workshop? I don't know what that is. The
That's
Emporium
what
is
The
we
what we
Jaeger's
buy.
workshop
Okay.
is a mercenary and training grounds for hunters and future Jaegers,
Okay.
where you could get hunters, or potentially, if you guys succeed well high enough, maybe even land yourself a Jaeger. And the Mechanized Emporium is that, but for
Bots.
bots, for mannequins. Or again, if you are successful enough, perhaps a Hollow Sentinel.
I say we go for the hunters.
Honors.
I say we go for the hunters.
Hunters are haunters.
I'd like to minimize as much bloodshed as possible. I would prefer a robot, but I'll go with the 3 of us.
Split the difference.
Oh man, I'll have to.
1 and 1.
You could be such as a robot yourself.
So the robots are gonna be easier to get. Do we need gold for this? Like, what are we persuading them to donate?
We walk up with a cup.
GoFundMe.com.
It is going to be a persuasion check.
Do we have anyone with charisma?
Plus 2 charisma.
Isa's got the charisma.
Sorcerer.
She got
Oh
the
yeah,
raise.
yeah. Never mind. Okay, good.
Um,
All right, then the hunters are more powerful, but the robots are easier, essentially.
it's not about the check. The DC is going to be the same, but the hunters are, yeah, they're humanoid and more formidable, but it's also lives you're dealing with as a moral, ethical thing your character has to deal with. Or bots that there's no blood there, there's no soul there.
Well, they're not trying to get them to die.
But they're likely not as well trained as hunters, let alone a Jaeger.
But the hunters are like volunteering though, right? It's not like we're not making them.
Conscription.
Yeah. Is there a draft? Do they have a draft?
They got rid of the draft like 20 years ago.
Okay. I would feel bad, but okay.
Yeah. So split the difference.
All right, hunters.